Hi Chelsea fans, Chels Daft back with a video here on the channel. It's been a little bit of a while. I've had to calm myself down after Newcastle and after what happened against the Arsenal with the last video you probably saw on my channel, pleading for us to play 4-3-3, and it took us an hour to do it. But what happened when we did it? We took over the game. Anyway, we're going to talk about the Newcastle game. We're going to talk about Mason Mount's contract. We're also going to talk about the new appointment as far as recruitment goes. We're going to refer to Cristiano Ronaldo's links to Chelsea and that interview. We're going to talk about an exciting talent that could potentially be signing for Chelsea and also a potential move from Stamford Bridge. All this in this particular video. Hopefully you enjoy it. As I say, it's been a while on the channel with the video, but I am back and hopefully you do enjoy this. So, without further ado, let's get cracking. So, I want to take you to one headline about the Newcastle game in The Athletic that says some Chelsea fans are losing patience with Potter, but he has the club's total backing. The article on The Athletic goes on to say about how he is their man, Todd Bowley and Clear Lake Capital's man, their choice. They're going to back him. They're going to stick by him. They're going to choose to invest in January to restart to rebuild this squad because let's face it, he took over a Thomas Tuchel built squad and he needs time to get rid of the players it doesn't fit in his plans and bring players in. However, the problem we've got is we've lost 4 out of the last 5 Premier League games and it's just not good enough. And we ask ourselves the question, is he good enough to be a Chelsea manager? We have to ask it because we're all thinking it. And I struggle at the minute to think if he could be. And the reason I do that is simple mistakes that are being made that I'm spotting in game. I spoke about it in my last video, switch to 4-3-3. Now, we go to Newcastle and we play a back three again with a 4 and a 2 and a 1. And you wonder why on earth we're doing that against Newcastle's 4-3-3 of their own. Mason Mount and Conor Gallagher play narrow as number 10s. They don't start out wide, they start quite narrow, looking for the space in between the midfield. The problem was Chelsea were being pinned back by Newcastle, and by doing so, Mount and Gallagher found themselves tracking back more often than going forward, which allowed Kieran Trippier the freedom down that side to just create havoc, to get his crosses in, to force us backwards. We were outnumbered again in the middle of midfield, and it showed, and we struggled for an hour. We made the switch to 4-3-3, and by doing so, yes, they scored a good goal, a good finish by Willock, but Chelsea took control of the game. We looked much more comfortable. We finally had a threat in their final third. Conor Gallagher forcing a great save from Pope. It's just we looked much better balanced in through the midfield with the pivot, the 2 outside, the 2 natural wide players and a man for the middle. But I will say this, I could not understand for the life of me why we bring on Kai Havertz as a centre forward where he's openly said, look, I don't mind doing a job there and trying to compete. You got Aubameyang sitting on the bench. Why didn't he come on and play in his natural position? I've said it before, I'll say it again. You've got to play players in their natural position. And for any of you that have got the Fifth Stand app or notifications from Chelsea, there's a certain interview with Mason Mount that's come out tonight saying about how he loves to be box to box a number 8. Not a number 10. Said it before, he wants to be a number 8. Now, the World Cup or that particular tournament that's coming up in Qatar, which looking at the England squad, I can't really be bothered with. I will be for the Chelsea players, Sterling, Mount and Gallagher. Obviously, hopefully they play well if Gallagher gets the game. But what we're hearing is that Chelsea and Graham Potter are going to go to Dubai for some warm weather training while the World Cup's going on, taking the players not involved from the first team squad and some youngsters as well. And gradually, as teams get knocked out of the World Cup, if any of those Chelsea players are part of those teams, they'll come and join the more weather training. This is where Graham Potter can really take stock of what's happened in the last 5 games compared to the opening under his stewardship, and he can look at what's really going wrong. Now, it's not just Graham Potter. We have to make that clear. It's not just him. There's a certain nucleus of players in that squad under 3 or 4 different managers are underperforming. They switch it on and switch it off. That's not good enough. So we need to weed out those players. We need to take stock of everything that we've got, what we can potentially build on and bring in January, and we need to go again. The next game's Boxing Day, and we must go again. We can't remain standing still, and it's an ideal opportunity for Graham Potter to take stock of decisions that he's made and maybe come up with what I'm saying, the 4-3-3. It gives us a much better balance for me. I know people have got different opinion. I respect it, but I understand why fans are losing patience. But he needs to turn it round, and he's going to be backed by the club, by Todd Bowley and the consortium. So you have to wonder, if it's 5 more games or 4 more games defeated, will that change? Hopefully they can pull it around, turn it around and push for top 4, because let's face it, that's what we said when Potter took over. Let's get inside the top 4 and rebuild again in the summer, and then hopefully push even further next season. Just have to accept the fact that it is going to be a top 4 fight this season and nothing more. Hopefully we can do better, but we have to wait and see. So to Mason Mount and his contract, and once again, The Athletic, a source of a lot of information on this video, have confirmed that there has been progress with relation to contract talks, which had reached a stalemate. Now, Mason Mount has got a couple of seasons to go left on his contract. A lot of people can't believe it's got to that point. And as reported in Athletic, the previous ownership had no plans on talking to Mount at the moment about a new contract, which is quite alarming. There's been reports about these big deals that Clearlake Capital and the consortium have been offering players, such as Armando Broja. He signed a 6-year deal. Reece James signed a 5-year deal. Cucurella signed a 6-year deal. And it's all to do with the basic pay and potential to earn more based on your performance individually and what the team do, like what you get at work in a normal working environment. Now, there are reports that Mason Mount was offered originally a 7-year contract, which he's turned down. Now, there's nothing to be alarmed about, The Athletic are telling us, based on that situation. They're just saying that it's because it's just too long a contract. Why 7 years? Why not give me 5 like Reece James? However, there seems to be some progress being made in recent days before he left to go to Qatar with the England team or the England squad. And we expect Mason Mount to hopefully get a contract signed when he comes back, or maybe around January, once they can get back and talk again and get those dots on those I's and the T's crossed and get it all done. So hopefully Mount will be the next one that signs a new contract at the club. We've got to tie him down, because no matter what you think about Mason Mount, think of a Chelsea first 11, a Chelsea team on that pitch without him. It's a very different team as far as the press goes and energy. Say no more. Mason Mount, hopefully new deal. So we now move to Paul Winstanley, who finally joined Chelsea from Brighton. The much talked about, much expected move has finally happened after he was on gardening leave from Brighton, and he takes up his role as the Director of Global Talent and Transfers at the football club. There's a real push from the new ownership, the consortium, to invest in youngsters, in young up-and-coming talent that could already be walking straight into the Chelsea first team squad. We signed Carney Chukwuemeka, who's a big talent. We're eyeing up the likes of Bellingham. That's a different story. But we're also looking at some important youngsters that are taking a lot of people's attention, the bigger clubs around Europe and around the world. And it's a real move from Chelsea to invest in up-and-coming talent, as well as existing players or players that can come into the first team squad. There's been a complete revamp of of how the club is run, the different departments with different appointments has been made. And when Stanley comes in with a job to do, and he'll now work with Graham Potter over the next few windows to try and mould that Chelsea squad into what Graham Potter wants. Hopefully he's given the time to do so, with results improving. Because if they don't, as we've spoken about, he might not be here that long, despite what the current ownership is saying. Anyway, a good appointment. Let's see what happens in the next few windows. So now we're going to talk about the whole Cristiano Ronaldo and the Piers Morgan interview that's being streamed tonight. Just a complete live stream of it that was recorded. And we've all seen the fallout from it. It's quite obvious Cristiano Ronaldo has had enough of Man United and he wants himself to be sacked or to have his contract ripped up and never set foot in that place again. He's upsetting people at the club. He's upsetting his teammates. He's upsetting ex-players that are now pundits. And you sort of wonder, has he made a rod for his own back? And for me, I think he has. Of course, there was a link in the summer with Ronaldo as the commercial signing for Todd Boehly. Think of the commercial aspect of him signing for Chelsea worldwide, how much shirt sales and revenue that would generate for the football club. It'd pretty much pay for himself if he signed for the football club. But you wondered if he would come to Chelsea. At the time, Thomas Tuchel said no. He doesn't suit the playing style that he wants to play with at the football club, the current players, and it'll be too disruptive. And he said no. And the company, the consortium, went with his opinion. Of course, now Ronaldo's done what he's done, there's links to Chelsea once again. But as per this article in the Daily Mail, Graham Potter is of the same opinion of Thomas Tuchel. He's got a much bigger plan, a much more dynamic and progressive plan for his football team, the way they play and the way he wants them to play, and Ronaldo wouldn't fit. So, forget any talk of Cristiano Ronaldo coming to Chelsea. Looks as though he's going to end up at Bayern Munich, if you ask me. But what interview, what a situation. Moving on to young and up-and-coming talent, and we're going to talk about Arsene Zakarian. Now, the Dynamo Moscow midfielder, the young midfielder, has taken Europe by storm with a lot of the big clubs looking at him as a potential signing. As per Caught Offside, the article's posted the detail here, but they've included an interview with Fabrizio Romano, who is the man for transfer rumours, and he's been quoted as saying this. Talks are ongoing with Chelsea. It's something that's not completed yet, but he's one of the talents that Chelsea want to sign for the future. There are discussions ongoing on both the player and the club side. Chelsea are the favourites to sign him, but a deal is not at the final stages yet. Obviously, bearing in mind, he plays for a Russian club, Dynamo Moscow, and the situation with Russia at the moment, I guess we have to wait and see. But the 19-year-old is someone on Chelsea's radar, and they are favourites to sign him. What do you think of him from what you've seen of him so far? Let me know in the comment section. Finally, we've seen over the past few days talk of Chelsea exploring an opportunity to move away from Stamford Bridge, round the corner really, to Earls Court. The plot that was Earls Court that was sold for 425 million back in 2019 to some developers has had nothing done on it. No planning permission's been sent through or been planned for it with no real movement on what's happening. And as a result, it could potentially become available again. And Chelsea, eyeing up a 60,000 seat stadium, could use the Earls Court development site, or the plot we should say, as an ideal opportunity. Bearing in mind, you already had the big venue there for Earls Court when it was up and running. Chelsea have had issues with Stamford Bridge and trying to get the residents on side to increase the size of the stadium and the knock-on effect it has to the residents close by. Earls Court, a completely open plot, would make perfect sense, and you would imagine would appease the Chelsea fans. Not necessarily the Chelsea pitch owners, but maybe moving to Earls Court might appease them as well. But ideally, we want to keep hold of Stamford Bridge, want to try and develop that. But it's one of the options. Stamford Bridge, Earls Court. I wonder what's going to happen and what the new consortium will try and come up with. Hopefully, it will still be at Stamford Bridge, but Earls Court wouldn't be so bad. So, guys, that's it from me. A news update here on the channel, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, drop a like on the video for me. Subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching and all of your support, and I'll see you back here for another video shortly. See you soon.